A lot of people feel vulnerable and they feel like they can't get to emotional safety when they're dealing with a struggle in their relationship or within themselves. This can be anything from you're worried about your marriage, or you've gained weight and you don't know how to lose it, or you're having body image struggles, or you have disease or condition that you're struggling with. So it can go in a lot of different directions, but the bottom line is when we feel very vulnerable, we are in a place where we don't feel safe. Now here's a little problem. When we don't feel very safe, we actually don't feel like we can love deeply, heal deeply, forgive ourselves, lift shame. So basically, the more we feel in danger or vulnerable, the more we are always focused on protection. The more we focus on protection, the less we can heal. Whether it's with another person and you are both working on a marriage, or if it's with yourself and you're working on a healthier lifestyle, you need to have ground rules. You need to have a foundation. So what does that look like? So say you're in a relationship and you're really not spending much time together, including even at dinner time, and maybe you're going to a counselor, or maybe you're sometimes talking, whatever it is. You are going to make that commitment that every Friday night you at least have dinner together. Don't call it date night, because that's a lot of pressure to be pleasant at dinner, but just be peaceful at dinner, be civil at dinner. In fact, that could be another ground rule, that you actually are committing to sitting down and having dinner in a civil, peaceful way. No pressure. So if you're setting a ground rule for yourself, it can be something as simple as, you know what, if I eat something that's not really deemed as healthy, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I just will make sure that I don't have it the next day. Or if I go to the grocery store and I buy ice cream and I know I shouldn't be eating ice cream, I'll allow myself to have 1 tablespoon of it and then I will throw it out, even though I know that I'm wasting money doing it, because I'd rather waste money than waste my sense of self. And so you need to make some ground rules like that for yourself or in your relationship. But the bottom line is you want gentle, very peaceful, compassionate ground rules. That is the first step in feeling safe. So one thing that's really creative and actually fun is to imagine a container. Now hear me out. This container is going to be imaginary, and it's going to be this kind of abstract space that you hold yourself accountable, and also that you can focus on self-love. Now, this is what I used to do with my clients, and it was very, very effective. You imagine a beautiful room, and then you imagine a beautiful table within this room. And then you imagine a container on the table. This container can be anything that you want. Imagine whatever you want it to be. It could be something from memory. Sometimes people would imagine a vase or a flower pot or a genie bottle or a magic lamp or a treasure chest. It just doesn't matter what that container is as long as it's a container. So definitely work on imagining a beautiful room in as much detail as possible. You will always go back to this beautiful visual of the container. And what you do with this container is that you put your worries and your troubles in this container, and out of this container is anything positive anyone has ever done for you or said to you, or any words of wisdom that have really helped you. So what I like to imagine is my great aunt had a tin that was filled with buttons. I just remember as a kid loving to go into that button box, I used to call it, and just dig into the treasure of all of these beautiful buttons, and some of them were glistening and some were just more plain, but it just felt beautiful. So I imagine a beautiful white room and a beautiful white table and this very vintage looking button box on the table. And so in my mind, I can always open that box and I put my hand in and I feel the sensation of the memory as well, but I also imagine all of the good positive things that my great aunt said to me, or that my mother or father said to me, or the feeling of my mother's hug, or the first time that I held my children after they were born. There's all this positivity coming from that box. But also, when I'm kind of in a space of being a worrywart or something like that, I just imagine that box and I just put it in the box. And when you imagine that you put your fears, your anger, your vulnerability in that box, whatever that box is for you, you know that it's mixing with all that positivity. And you know that there's more positivity always in that box, because you also are going to imagine now that this box is endless. So it goes into the table and into the room and into the center of the earth and distributes. So all the negativity from that box goes into the center of the earth, distributes into a new energy, a positive energy for other people. Having this kind of container visualization is very important. You need to imagine always a very safe space for you to do your emotional work. And it's great to have a physical safe space that you can go to within your home. Of course, you want that, but you also need to have an emotional safe space because homes come and go, and sometimes a safe space that you have in your home might get changed. So you always want to have something visually that you can draw back upon that will help you. Now, speaking of spaces, now we have our container that we already have, our emotional container, but now we need to really have a safe spot to be able to talk to someone, to be able to just go into our thoughts or have a journal or whatever it is. Now, I don't want you just to be everywhere. I want you to look around your home or a friend's home or a church, wherever you need to be, and I want you to find a safe spot, an actual real life safe spot. So this is not imaginary, this is not creative. Well, it's a little creative, but it's not something that you're just dreaming up. Okay, this is an actual real space that I want you to find. This is a space that you can go and journal. This is a space that you can have a conversation with someone that will be very safe. This is a space that you can read and work through anything that you might be going through or looking at a YouTube video. It's really just a safe space within your home. I personally just love my bedroom. So I like to go in my bedroom and just sit on my bed and get a cup of tea and put a blanket around me, and that's my safe spot. It's a space that is safe, but also has some sense of comfort in it as well. For some of you, your home isn't a safe space, or you might be living from place to place or displaced right now. So find an external space. And that's why I mentioned a church. There's a lot of times that you can go into the back of a church and just sit there and maybe journal or put headphones on and listen to a YouTube. It's a safe, comfortable space that you can feel very spiritually connected, and you can also feel very free to do whatever emotional work that you need to do. Now, another area that is really important that we have to work on is privacy. If we have had any kind of trauma in our past, whether it was through family or something in our past at all, we have a feeling of privacy being ripped away from us. Now, I want you to be able to regain that. And one way of feeling less vulnerable and more at peace is knowing that you have privacy. So I want you to think of ways that you can preserve a sense of privacy where your privacy is not only going to be respected by someone else, but maybe they don't even need to know about it. So it's not something that you have to broadcast, right? You can just find a privacy ritual that you create within your life. Part of honoring your privacy is going to be not blabbing to everyone about it. So it's going to be something that you're going to hold sacred. You might want to tell one or two very close people to you. Maybe if your husband is helping you through this, or your partner, or a best friend, whatever it is you're going through, you can tell them about it, but they have to honor that they are going to respect your privacy and not look at your journal or your artwork or go online if you're writing online to yourself, whatever. You need to have a space in order to work on yourself that is going to be very private. If you're adding wellness into your life, it's very tempting to tell people about your new lifestyle. Maybe you're focusing on more vegan recipes, or you're going to work out more, because everyone's going to have an opinion on that. So be sure that whatever you share, you're ready that people are going to have opinions. Some people are going to be wonderful cheerleaders, other people, not so much. So you want to make sure that whatever you do, you retain your privacy. It's not just about privacy from other people because they're attacking you. It's really about honoring your own boundaries. And here's the last area that I just actually did touch on, and that is having a ritual. So it's not just a ritual of privacy, but it's a ritual for all of this. You need to make this a habit to work on yourself. You need to make this a habit to lift that vulnerability and to feel more empowered and to imagine yourself feeling more at peace. And you're not going to do that without a ritual. So decide on when you're going to do certain things and commit to that as much as possible. You won't always make it all of the time, and that's okay. It's life. But if you can at least make an effort to do that as often as possible, that's really good, and you need to commend yourself on that. So when you have your ground rules, and when you have your abstract container, and when you have your safe spot, and when you have your privacy and your rituals, all of this is not an overnight fix. to get to a place where you are lifting the vulnerability and feeling more safe, to help you to heal, to help your relationships to heal, to help you physically heal, is a very big move. And I want you to take your time at it, and I want you to understand that it's normal that you might have to tweak things, you might have to be flexible in your thinking, you might have to really be easy on yourself and forgive yourself, because you know what? Life happens. Sometimes you won't get to what you need to get to. Sometimes you're going to mess up. That's okay. But in order for you to get to a place of healing, you have to be okay with that. This is a process. You're human. You've probably been through hell, and I want you to feel really good. So go ahead and start that process. Let me know if there's anything that you want to talk about. The next video is really going to help you, so go ahead and click.